Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla. So we have been hearing for more than a decade that the competition is coming for Tesla and a whole army of Tesla killer was coming. But when we take a closer look to the so-called competition in the BEV world today, there is really not anyone yet here in 2024 after the first half of the year that we can truly call competitor. Not even BYD. So let me show you why, and let's dive right in. BYD is doing very well and is the biggest so-called competitor to Tesla for sure. But it's not easy to compare all these companies because they sell in different segments and in very different markets. Like BYD still has about 80% of their sales being in China. So that is going to make their average selling price much lower than someone that mostly sells in Europe or in the US, or like Tesla that only have about 33% of their sales in China. For example, the BYD Dolphin sells for the equivalent around $16,500 in China, while in Germany with the same battery pack is over $37,400, or more than double the price. The Seal costs around $30,000 in China, while a similar version currently on sale in Germany for over $48,000. That is just to say we can't really make a 100% accurate comparison here because these companies are so very different and work in so very different markets. But if we look at BYD and their average selling price, that is about $27,000 compared to Tesla's average selling price that is about $45,000. So there is a huge difference between these two companies. One is selling very affordable EVs and plug-in hybrids, and the other is a 100% EV play with only premium cars on the menu. So, as you can see, making a comparison between Tesla and BYD and thinking you are comparing apples to apples, well, it's just not that simple. Because if we look at this chart here from Ark and West, where we can see the addressable market of the car market, well, we can see that Tesla's average selling price of $45,000, they have around 5% of the car market, definitely not more than 10% of the car market. Whereas if you have an average selling price of just $27,000 as BYD does, you have access to about 40% of the car market. So BYD should, in theory, sell somewhere between 4 to 8 times as many cars as Tesla does. And even including their plug-in hybrids, they don't do that. Last year, BYD sold a total of 3 million vehicles, of which about half was BEVs, so what we can really compare to Tesla. But BYD only sold about 40% more cars in total, including their hybrids, than Tesla, even though they have about 4 to 8 times bigger addressable market. And when it comes to profits, they are not really comparable either. In 2023, BYD earned about $1,200 for every vehicle they sold, including their hybrids, whereas Tesla earned about $5,300 in 2023 for every EV they sold. So Tesla earns about 4 times as much as BYD for every EV they sell. So BYD has to sell 4 EVs to earn as much as Tesla does on selling 1 EV. So you can see it's not easy to compare these two companies, as one is a pure EV play and the other is not. And one is in a 4 to 8 times bigger addressable market because their products are close to half the price, and one is a premium electric car maker and the other is making more affordable cars, and one is earning 4 times as much on every product they sell. So to say BYD is a direct competitor to Tesla is not really true. The only thing they have in common is that they both make BEVs. So BYD is more a colleague than a competitor to Tesla in my opinion, but sure, BYD is the closest thing we have to a competitor to Tesla, because they are the closest in terms of unit sales to Tesla. But in reality, BYD should outsell Tesla by at least 4 times the amount of units in BEVs to be a true competitor. And in reality, Tesla is selling more pure electric vehicles than BYD. In the first half of 2024, Tesla has sold just above 830,000 units and BYD 726,000 units. So not really true competition to Tesla, as you can see, and BYD still has to show they can become a big boy outside of China, as for example here in Europe Tesla is still outselling BYD 9-1. And they're not really even present in the US. But BYD and Tesla are about to get much closer to become competitors, as Tesla will soon start producing more affordable models and therefore enter into BYD segment, and BYD will start selling their premium brand, the Yangwang. So over the next couple of years, Tesla and BYD will get much closer as competitor. But right now, it's hard to even call BYD a true competitor to Tesla, as Tesla is still outselling them here in 2024, but BYD should outsell Tesla something like 4-1. But then we also have someone like Lucid that still calls themselves Tesla competitors, as their CEO just said in an interview. We got more range than anyone else with just the 88 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which is smaller, lighter and much less costly than the competition. And that is why we can offer the Lucid Air Pure cheaper than Tesla. But that just sounds so hollow when you lose about $350,000 per EV you sell. Tesla could just start giving away their Model S Plaid for free and they would still lose less money than Lucid does on selling their Lucid Air Pure. So what Peter is saying here does not make any sense whatsoever. They are still hammering through cash, so they are not really in a position to talk about the cost of their cars. They're not losing as much money as Rivian is, as you can see here in this chart of free cash flow, but that is also because Rivian is producing a lot more units than Lucid is, so they are losing a lot more money because they are not profitable either. But they are both very hard to call competition to Tesla, because Rivian is also losing about $30,000 per vehicle they sell. So Lucid and Rivian are not really something we can call competition to Tesla either. They are closer in terms of the segment they are in, but they sell a fraction of the unit as Tesla does, and Rivian and Lucid are still some of the EV startups that are losing the most amount of money when it comes to free cash flow. So nothing we can really call competition to Tesla. But what about the legacy automakers? Well, we do have Ford that has been so kind to open up their EV business for us so we can see what's going on underneath the hood. And in Q2 2024, Ford still lost $1.1 billion on their Model E business, with almost 100% negative margins on their EVs. So Ford still loses the cost of the entire vehicle when they sell them. And Ford only sold 24,000 EVs in all of Q2, so again, not really something we can call competition to Tesla when they sell about 18 times less unit. Even though something like the Ford Mustang Mach-E is in the same segment as the Tesla Model Y, but the Mach-E is only selling like 40,000 units a year, and the Model Y is the best-selling car on the planet. Not the same thing, not competition, even though they at least are in the same segment here between these two cars. So Ford loses about $45,800 per vehicle they sold in Q2, and Tesla's average selling price is about $44,800. So Ford would lose less money if they just bought a Tesla and gave them away. Or they could add on $1,000 and sell them for $45,800, and then they would actually earn money on selling the Model Y instead of their own EVs. So, as you can see, it's even hard to call Ford a competitor to Tesla, even though they do have a car that, when it comes to the segment and selling price, is a direct competitor. But please look at this chart of the Mach-E and the Model Y of the first half of 2024 and tell me that the Mach-E is a true competitor to Tesla's Model Y. The Model Y is outselling it 20-1. And at the same time, Ford is losing a lot of money on selling their EV. That is why Ford is now slowing down their production of the F-150 Lightning, because every vehicle they sell hurt their bottom line. And the legacy automakers are very short-term thinkers, and they don't want to lose money combined on their overall business, because that is going to look bad for shareholders. So they are slowing down their EV production and no longer do what they said they would do, because Ford said they would be building the F-150 Lightning in their Canada factory. But that is no longer the plan. Now they will build their heavy-duty trucks there instead, and that is ICE, of course, not electric. So sure, segment-wise, Tesla and Ford are competitors, but when it comes to profitability on EVs, Ford is not a competitor. If Tesla should lose as much money on their Model Y, they should have to give the Model Y away for free, for that to be a true competitor to Ford's EVs. And when it comes to unit sales, it is not a competitor, as Tesla outsells Ford by 18-1. Ford is of course saying the reason why they are losing money on their EVs is because industry-wide pricing pressure. And because Tesla is half of the industry in the US, and that is where Ford has most of their EV sales, what Ford is really saying here is that Tesla is setting the price and the standard in the EV segment, and that is pressuring Ford to keep their prices somewhat competitive with Tesla's, or they will not sell a single EV if Ford needed to be profitable, because that would mean their EVs would cost about twice the price of a Tesla EV. So Tesla is really holding the entire industry in a headlock. As we can see, even BYD is only earning a little over $1,000 on their BEVs, if not all of their profit comes from their plug-in hybrid, because they don't split them up. So we actually don't know if BYD is actually earning anything on their BEVs or if all their profits come from their plug-in hybrids. But still, they are not in the position where they can just lower their prices with $2,000 if Tesla does that, because then they will start losing money, but Tesla will still be earning money. Tesla sits with all the cards, and as you can see, no one can really be called true competitors to Tesla. But Tesla is not sitting still either. They have just begun. They are coming out with more affordable models in the first half of 2025, and their true affordable next generation vehicle may be in 2026. And then Tesla will truly start to become a real competitor to BYD, because they're going into their segment, and we will see if BYD's Yangwang will become a true competitor to Tesla's premium cars, because then we will truly have a competition in the EV space. But everyone else, like Lucid, Rivian, or all the legacy automakers, they still have to start earning money on their EVs before they get the honor to be called competition to Tesla. We have been hearing about the competition coming for over a decade, but they are still not here. Sure, the EVs the short sellers were screaming about back in the days, like Porsche Taycan, the Jaguar E-Pace, Mercedes EQC, and the Audi e-tron, and so on, they have all come out. But most of them are being discontinued, and the Porsche EV sales were down 54% in the first half of 2024. So no one of the so-called Tesla killers came and killed Tesla. Most of them are being killed and are a fraction of Tesla's EV sales, and none of them is profitable. Not a Tesla killer, not even competition. So we're still waiting for the competition to show up. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.